back on track?
Good morning and welcome to Edaville. We're now ready to depart.
A baby boomer's favorite welcomes families back on board.
Imagine what Disney and Universal executives might think. A newly opened theme park with no special effects amusements. Not a roller coaster in sight. Nothing at all, in fact, that smacks of the 21st century.
Instead, the owners of Edaville Railroad seem to be gambling on nostalgia, hoping that New England's baby boomers turned parents will want to relive fond memories with their kids.
Good morning and welcome to Edaville. We're now ready to depart.
Edaville Railroad, a treasured part of New England history, is once again chugging down the tracks in Carver, Massachusetts.
What we're trying to build is a very unique attraction for children and families. So when people come here, it's not just rides, it's not all make-believe. It's the real world integrated in with the fantasy.
This all started back in the 1940s when Ellis D. Atwood, a cranberry farmer and a railroad buff, purchased the engine and cars of one of the last remaining narrow-gauge railroads.
And it was Ellis D. Atwood, and by the way, that's where Edaville got its name. Ellis D. Atwood are the three initials of the founder's name. Just prior to and during the Second World War, these railroads in Maine were folding up, and he was able to go up and make deals to purchase this equipment.
Atwood hoped to use the train to transport workers around his cranberry bogs.
The cranberry bogs were the initial investment, and Mr. Atwood loved railroads. So during that time, as cranberry bogs did a little better, he'd invest in a railroad.
Soon, Atwood's friends and neighbors began stopping by in hopes of getting a ride on the train. Atwood so delighted in taking folks on the 5.5-mile ride around the property, he added passenger cars. In 1947, he opened Edaville as a tourist attraction, and people came. So he added a depot, a museum, and a restaurant. At Christmas time, he dazzled folks with a spectacular display of lights.
Edaville ran uninterrupted from 1947 to 1991. There was, at that point in time, two owners here, two brothers, that were descendants of the original owners of this property. They could not agree at that point with Edaville's operator, and consequently Edaville closed.
But in 1999, a new group of owners came in with a whole new plan. John Deli Priscoli manages the business side of things.
That's our vision, is to make Edaville into this wonderful fantasy, but not forget the educational component, the environmental component, or the agricultural component, which is how Edaville was created to begin with.
Edaville never stopped its cranberry operations. Today, Doug Beaton tends to the bogs.
We harvest 200 acres of cranberry bogs every year. This is one of the larger cranberry properties in southeastern Massachusetts.
And John Flagg does what every kid dreams of. He takes care of the trains.
I've always liked trains. Trains have always been interesting to me, and I've been here on a day-to-day basis for 3.5 years right now, getting everything done, moving all this equipment, doing all the construction work.
And they've been busy. Edaville USA now has more rides, more trains, a swimming area, paddle boats, playgrounds, a game room, and a museum that traces the history of the cranberry. But is that enough to keep Edaville profitable?
Right now we're seeing in the vicinity of 5,000 or 6,000 people will come in. Typically, Edaville has a capacity to handle currently somewhere between 10,000 and 12,000 people daily.
Edaville is hoping that Thomas the Tank Engine, who will be steaming in on August 24th, will draw huge crowds.
You won't find a computer at Edaville, and that's intentional. We are no-tech, and we're bringing people and families back to a time when people focused on their families. That's the part of America that's going to survive.
Oh, what fun. Thomas the Tank should be a big draw.